Welcome to another episode of Wrestling with Bros. This is Big Baby Ben.
Judas Black, and tonight we've got the one, the only Kenny Nyne back on the show here, man. You know, for the fans that know you, it's great. But you've been on the show a couple times. Why don't you go ahead and reintroduce yourself for the new ones?
Well, hi everyone. I am the Unplugged Cyberpunk Kenny Nine, representing Cabrini Green, Chicago, Illinois. And I'm just now entering my fourth year into wrestling, and I'm on fire. I just had two matches this weekend, and Saturday I just made my debut in Withee, Wisconsin, in a six-person ladder match.
Oh, wow! Why don't you tell us a little bit about that match, man?
So, most of the day I was driving. Let's go off with that. It was a 5-hour drive from where I live. And by the time I got there, I literally had about like 5 minutes to get my bits in the match and basically understand what was going on in the match.
Wow.
So I got there, got back to the locker room and got dressed and then just went over the planned spots and just went out there and did our thing. And first rule of a ladder match: if you're the only flyer in the match, you're definitely going to be flying.
Were you the only flyer in the match?
Unfortunately, but I had fun with it. I was more concerned about how much trouble I was going to get in at home. But I had fun. It was my first ever ladder match, and I would hope to do something like that again in the future.
I hope to see the video of this ladder match. Is there any clips yet?
Oh, there's actually a full video on YouTube now of the match.
Really? Is there any way you can send me that link?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, yeah, send that over to me too, man, because I'd love to see that.
Yep, I just sent it to you guys.
Awesome. Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to, once I get, I talked to Steve the other night. And he says, usually guys are about 5-6 months in before they really get out there and get in the ring and stuff. Better be watching out for me, man. I'm gonna be headed your direction too, talking to you about doing a match. So
Sure thing, man. Listen, I don't have a problem working with anybody. I often try to get a feel for how people work. Like, I just worked on Stampede Larkin and Miles Mercer in a tag last night. And man, I just took the G9 for the first time. I never took that move before, but I love Crime Time. I figured, with it being Black History Month, peace up to the god Shad, I was willing to take it.
Okay. Yeah, my finisher is kind of like I'd call it almost like a flatliner of sorts, but it's kind of like a modified flatliner.
Okay.
So it's pretty
compare this to Facebook too.
Yeah.
Oh, let me get that down, big baby. I'm sorry.
Wait. Facebook for?
Oh no, I forgot to sign this up into Facebook. My stupid
This
self.
is one of our platforms. We want all the platforms for you, Kitty Nine.
Yeah.
So we got a creative episode this time for you. And then we want to get your opinion on some current WWE news. And then I also saw two matches that you were in recently. At Hide Your Heart, you faced Jordan James.
I wasn't able to make that because of the traffic from Wisconsin. So I couldn't make that show. And yeah, that was, like I said, driving 5 hours from Withee, Wisconsin. You have to go through Milwaukee, through Madison, and Racine, and so on. Mm-hmm. By the time I got back into Chicago, it was like 2:00.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I tell you, I drive 2 hours and 47 minutes through the tollways to get to Chicago once a week. And
Even
I
the
go out and
tollways,
around, it's over 3 hours.
even the tollways, it was 5 hours from where I was Saturday. So it's
And then I
like,
also saw you had something going on with Xavier Sky.
yeah. So that was my graduation match. So Xavier Sky graduated, I want to say it was either 2 or 3 years ago from True
Okay.
Privilege Wrestling.
Okay.
We started at the same time. So for me to have that match with him, it was the culmination of everything that started. Everything, that's the name of the show, Full Circle.
Full circle.
So, yep, Full Circle. Full Circle 3 was our very first match we had together.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
and it was for the True Privilege Wrestling True Warrior title. I came up short in that match.
He's like, I lost it. I lost.
Yep, I came up short, but I didn't get deterred. I just had to keep going.
I tell you, man, back in Halloween, around Halloween, they HAW did a show, and Xavier Sky and Gunner were in a match against each other. And it was originally a 2 out of 3 falls match, and they both ended up with the first fall, and then the third fall they both got counted out. Well, HAW's like, that's not how we do things around here, and they ended up turning the match into a last man standing match. And man, they were just throwing all kinds of things in the ring, but Xavier Sky and him, they went back and forth. It was a hell of a show, but Xavier ended up with a concussion during that match, man. That guy could really move around that ring.
Yeah, I was. So after I saw the clips that he posted of that match, I had to ask him, "Hey, man," because we had to work like a few weeks after that match at another show before we had our third match that you just brought up. I had to ask him, "Do we need to talk about something?" Because first off, I'd never seen him in a hardcore match before, or a last man standing match for that matter. And in this clip, I just see him hitting Gunner with a door, and I'm like, and over the head repeatedly, and I'm like, okay, do we need to talk?
Yeah, they beat the hell out of each other, man. Like Gunner busted open, bleeding out of his head. It was crazy.
Yeah, but second match between Sky and I was like, I'm amped up. I'm ready to show that whatever you could dish out, I could take, and you better be ready for me because I've been chasing behind them basically my entire career.
Yep, you got to prove yourself, proving grounds.
Exactly.
Yep.
The original finish of the match, we went too fast. So the last few minutes of our second match, we were improvising as we went.
Okay.
And the finish still ended as planned with a time limit draw, but it was supposed to end with a promo from Sky. And I was like, is he going to take the mic? Is he going to take the mic? I was like, okay, let me say something because, again, I've been pushing. I've been chasing him since he broke out. And I said, Sky, I can't just sit back and keep watching, man. And I was like, I would go 5 more minutes, but we're both tired. So how about this? Full Circle 5. Let's go again. And that brings us to the third match.
Yep.
Man, I was like, and every time leading up to the match, I was like, we got to top it. We got to top what we did in our draw and see what we can. So we could see what we do next.
Okay.
So, and I do have the link to that match as well.
Okay. Go ahead and send her over, man. We'd love to have it.
Go ahead and send her over.
He'll be right back. All right. So how's things been going, Big Baby, while we're waiting for Kenny Nyne to come back up?
He's about to be right back in.
He disappeared for a moment.
Yeah, my fault.
You're good, man. You're good.
It happens. So we were about to move into some news and try to get the opinion of the one and only Kenny Nine of
Absolutely.
The Rock returning and putting his ones in the air with Roman Reigns.
That was not one. That was not one.
L. That was an
This
L.
is not ones.
Is The Rock going to back Roman, or is he going to help Cody finish the story?
Honestly, there are so many things that were inconsistent, like from Cody's announcement of The Rock to the like kickoff, like the premiere of what was supposed to be like the onstage promotion of WrestleMania 40 to this. It's like you have Cody bring The Rock out. He says he's not going to challenge Roman at WrestleMania. Then comes this press conference. He challenges Roman at Mania. Rock slaps him. The guy that brought him out. Then he's aligning with the bloodline. Like something got lost along the way. Because I honestly think what they're doing is they're going through the motions and just following the crowd.
Well, they are. That's definitely true. I mean, you got to think the crowd. They were literally chanting "Rocky sucks," and The Rock's daughter Ava was receiving death threats because of how they were trying to set this match up for The Rock.
And I never agree with that. I'm completely against death threats against any talent. Yep. And with that in mind, it has to be mentioned that Ava had nothing to do with that.
No, she didn't.
Facts.
And I wouldn't even be surprised if Ava didn't even know that her father was returning to WWE. Because nobody, this was, so Rock versus Roman's been teased for years. But
and people wanted it.
People wanted it. So it's like, at some point, you got to be like, how fickle are wrestling fans?
Yep. Yeah, well, like you guys begged for this match, and then when they were going to give it to you, you got pissed because Cody wasn't going to be able to finish his story yet. Like that, and then you're going to threaten The Rock. You're going to threaten his daughter. So they had to change up the storyline and make The Rock heel and join the bloodline so that Cody could go ahead and challenge Roman anyways. And we all, I mean, in reality, there's a lot of hints. Like with The Rock putting up the ones, he put up the gun symbol. And then when The Rock was saying, I'm going to make sure that you don't leave WrestleMania. You leave WrestleMania a loser. And when he did that, he pointed at Roman like this. Even though he said Cody's name, he pointed at Roman while Roman was looking the other direction. So there's a lot of subtle hints that there's a good chance The Rock is going to stab Roman in the back and set up for Cody to win. And then down the road, whether it be at Saudi Arabia or SummerSlam, we're going to get Roman versus The Rock due to the betrayal. That's what a lot of the rumors around the mill are going around saying that this is how it's going to play out. To give the fans what they want, but at the same time, give the fans Roman versus The Rock. Because Roman versus The Rock, they don't need the title to be relevant for that match. They don't need the title in there. The Rock doesn't.
That match alone is going to put butts in seats by itself.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people got to realize Roman is dealing with the effects of his remission from cancer.
Yes.
People are not noticing that, but I can see it in his face. There's a reason why he's not wrestling as frequently. He can't.
Yep. I've got an aunt that's got leukemia, and she's in remission right now. And like she said, it's every day it's a battle. Like it's not easy. So his body is weak. It's worn down from all that chemotherapy he went through to get back to where he's at. Like his body is just ravaged with this cancer and the chemotherapy. It's hard. It's hard to wrestle when your body's in a weakened state like that.
And that's the other thing. So the Fatal 4-Way was the best match possible for the Royal Rumble, which is what people didn't realize. With that match, one, you can mask everything that Roman's going through, and you could also protect Randy. And I pointed this out to people that this match was more designed to protect Randy Orton and Roman because why feed Randy to Roman when he just came back to a thunderous ovation at that? Why just feed him to Roman in a one-on-one off the bat like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
It would never go over with.
Wrestling Bitch 29 says, then why give him the title if he's sick again? The point of this is because the Bloodline storyline is huge. Like it really, it gained a lot of ground. It gained a lot of attraction, and the fans really loved it for the longest time. But the fans are mad because Roman can't wrestle as much. But the Bloodline storyline, it made billions, millions of dollars to as far as merchandise goes, as far as making talent look relevant. Like the Usos, bringing them into the Bloodline really built their careers. You know, Jey Uso, he would have never made main event Jey Uso if he hadn't been a part of the Bloodline, if he hadn't become so popular with the fans because of the Bloodline. And the same thing with Jimmy. Jimmy was going nowhere. He wasn't going anywhere before he became a part of the Bloodline.
Jimmy was injured once the storyline started.
Yeah. But
so
all these stars are gaining traction because of the Bloodline storyline. Same with Solo Sikoa. He was a nobody coming out of NXT, and he was given the option to join the Bloodline and build him as this enforcer, this powerhouse. And Wrestling Bitch says, okay, so let's risk his health for him to hold the title when he can easily hand it to someone else in the Bloodline, literally. It's not about risking his health. That's the whole purpose of him being a part-time talent, is because he doesn't need to be there all the time. Being a part-time talent, it makes him more of a side attraction that people want to see because he's not there as much. So when he does make an appearance, it's huge.
Yeah, she's spoiled.
And you also got to realize this type of thing has happened in WWE history multiple times. When Hulk wrestled Andre's health was horrible. Andre could barely walk before that match.
Yep.
And there was a big question of whether or not this was the main event, but it worked. Andre did the job while in tremendous pain and still pulled it, and they still pulled it off. They still put butts in seat and still had the fans off their feet.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
There's a reason why. And then on the counter argument of that, there's Kurt Hennig. Hennig had back issues his whole career, especially by the time he was in the E. That's why they never made him world champion.
Absolutely. You know, a lot of back issues. That back issues. Think about that. That comes to Seth Rollins, who fights on a daily basis through back pain and everything else, and still manages to hold a world title. So just because you're in pain don't mean you can't hold a title. But I get what you're saying. That's the reason why at that time they didn't give it to Mr. Hennig. But now you got Seth Rollins. He's so over with the fans, and the fans absolutely love it.
They can't kill his momentum. They did the same thing with Austin. Back in 1999, they did the exact same thing.
Yep.
So it's like this is nothing new.
Absolutely.
So wrestlers dealing with an illness, an injury, like seriously banged up, like Rollins.
Yep.
Them holding titles for the amount of time that they're holding it is nothing new to the business.
Absolutely is not. So Wrestling Bitch 29 says, what is to come next for you, Kenny?
Well, starting next month, I have my home company. I have a show there in TPW, March 2nd. And then March 23rd, I'm making my second appearance at All Out Pro Wrestling.
Ooh. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's absolutely amazing, man.
And I'm willing
I see some gold coming on Kenny Nyne's way this year. He's on fire.
Well, that's the thing. I've never held a title in wrestling, but for me, it's not about the titles. It's all about making the moments in the ring for everybody.
Okay.
And All Out Pro Wrestling last Saturday night, I did make the moment. I did that dive off the ladder, onto the top rope, onto the crowd of people
Holy
in the
shit.
match.
There we go.
I got yelled at by my wife later, but it was worth it.
That's one of those oh my god moments that you leave with fans. Like I can picture it in my head right now because I've seen clips of your high flying and it's crazy. So I can only imagine the aerial, the height that you got on this jump onto that rope and just springboarding.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, the ladder wasn't that high, but I was like, you know what? The ladder's wobbling. I'm going off the ropes.
He
So
said,
I
I'm
really
going.
just,
I'm going for it.
yep.
And I've been watching
And
clips of a lot of wrestlers. Like I was watching some stuff with the Santino brothers, and this one wrestler, he did this weird thing where he bounced from the top down to the second, back up, did a little footwork, and then did a like what the Undertaker does, where he does the whole arm thing on top of a dude. It was pretty cool. There's some crazy stuff you can do off them ropes.
I'm not crazy about that. I mean, because at some point I'm actually like someone's gonna pull me off this rope if I do that. I'm like,
someone's gonna toss my ass off here.
yep. But gold around my waist, I'm never gonna say no to that if someone's willing, but at the same time, I'm willing to take my time and actually earn it. I don't want anything given. I want to earn everything I get.
Right. So, like Big Baby was saying, today is about the underdog. So, as yourself, you probably would be considered at this current time, would be considered an underdog right now, right?
Yeah.
10 minutes late, maybe.
Okay. So, let's talk about number one on our list.
Other people that were here.
Normally we go from 10 and then we go down to 1. Let's start at number 1. The ultimate underdog in WWE, Rey Mysterio Jr. So, this man has faced some of the biggest guys. Dave Batista, Great Khali, JBL, and won. I mean, he is like the ultimate underdog. What's your thoughts on Rey Mysterio there, Ken?
Ray is the great. Like I never can honestly say I've been disappointed with a Rey Mysterio match. And Ray was one of the guys I grew up watching as a kid, watching his battles with him and Psychosis in WCW. I mean, I even like back in WCW, I watched him during his whole Giant Killer phase after he lost the mask. And I remember vividly when he beat Kevin Nash 1-on-1.
Yep,
then,
I remember that.
Then the following pay-per-view, they gave Nash his win back, but he went over dirty. So that's just how much respect I have for Ray. Watching him ever since I was a 4-year-old kid. And then, actually, last night, I met one of his rivals, Mr. Psychosis himself.
Oh wow. No shit. That's wild.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Dave Batista. Who was it that Ray faced for his first World Heavyweight title win?
It was Randy Orton and Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 22 here in Chicago.
Okay, there we go. I mean, he has faced some of the biggest guys. I mean, there's not many guys that are at Rey Mysterio's size. And when it comes to bigger talent that's facing for the world title. And so we got a fan question for you from it was from Craven Rage. He actually wrestles out of Wisconsin. His question for you is what companies are you looking to test your talent through?
I mean, I've been sending my footage, my promos to multiple companies, and I'm willing to test my luck almost anywhere. I mean, I'm really reasonable. I'm just looking to have that breakout moment that gets me on the map.
is there any possibility we see Kenny Nine in HAW again?
I mean, I'm willing. I'm always willing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Craven Rage is a wrestler out of he actually wrestles out of Wisconsin from a company called WCE, and then he also wrestles with another company where he comes to Iowa, IMF, Iowa Midwest Federation. So that's probably why he's curious as to what companies you'd be interested in wrestling for, because he wrestles out of those companies. So
Okay. I mean, I'd be willing to come down.
there you go, there you go. So so second in line, this guy, over the past couple of years has become really popular. Even when he started, he was a hell of a popular guy.
Gable.
Um, well, no, actually, I was going with Sami Zayn.
Oh,
Um,
yes, of course.
One of the ultimate underdogs. I mean, the man has fought his way from NXT. He made his debut, and I mean, people absolutely loved him. I think his debut was against John Cena, if I remember correctly. He faced off,
His
came
main
out.
roster.
No, Bret
Yeah.
Bret and Hart called him out, and it was against John Cena, and I think it was for the U.S. title, but Cena ended up retaining that night.
Yeah, he just hit his shoulder during his entrance.
Yep. And so, and we've seen in the past couple of years, we've seen him finally accomplish a lifelong dream with his best friend, Kevin Owens, when they won the World Tag Team titles. And that was an amazing dream. I feel like they cut that run a little short, personally, myself.
I feel like they did too, but the Judgment Day, for all intents and purposes, they're literally the best thing going that isn't the bloodline. Because
Absolutely.
because if you look at all the champions in WWE, there's only one champion that's a face,
Yeah. Yep.
and that's Rollins.
Honestly, Rhea Ripley is a heel, but man, she is so over with the fans. It's insane. Like they absolutely love mommy. Yeah, it's hard to call. It's hard to call her a heel because of how much she is over with the fans.
True, but then again, that it's hard to be a squeaky clean babyface and be completely over in this day and age
Yeah.
because you literally have to find an edge to be over as a babyface, and Rollins is a master at it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
so without an edge, because face it, people turned on Bayley when she was, feuding with Alexa Bliss.
Yep.
And I don't like how Bayley came off as weak for it, but Bayley had her moments. But when she was the champion, it didn't really go anywhere.
No.
And
So
that's
do you think she's going to win at WrestleMania against Io?
I honestly do, unless Io goes over dirty.
Yeah.
But what I can say, I honestly feel that the whole Judgment Day thing with R-Truth is going to lead to Austin Truth challenging them for the tag titles at WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I gotta say, man, R-Truth, he is one of my favorite superstars. Like the man deserves some sort of title because he is over with the fans. The fans absolutely love him, and they love his comedy skits. I mean, he acts like he's a few screws short, and like he doesn't know what's going on. But man, his ability to perform in that ring is just crazy, especially at 52 years old. It's insane.
So I remember R-Truth when he first arrived in WWE back in the year
What's
2000.
up?
Yep. And then I watched his TNA run.
Yep.
First black NWA World Heavyweight Champion.
Yep.
And from watching his time in TNA to him making his way back to the WWE, that's something to be admired. And then for him still doing the things he's doing at his age, it's admirable. And I mean, I watched him when he was in the 3 Live crew. I watched him when he tag teamed with Pac-Man Jones. I watched him when he teamed with Creed the now Xavier Woods.
Yep.
And I was always down for it because he made everything work.
Yes, he did. And man, you gotta think like looking at our truth now and going back and looking at older videos, like the man doesn't look like he's aged a damn day. Like,
No, he hasn't.
it is
And
crazy. Like he can still come out dancing to that "What's up" music, "What's up, what's up," and you wouldn't think nothing of it. Like he really holds his own in that ring with the younger talent. It really makes himself look like he's not 52 years old. I mean, if I had to guess his age, I mean, I would say maybe mid 40s at the oldest, but I wouldn't get. I definitely wouldn't say I guess him at 52. So, so all right, big baby, you got the next one.
Number 3 is a high flyer, like our boy Kenny Nyne.
Yeah,
Jeff Hardy, one of the ultimate
okay.
underdogs to win the world title.
Yeah, I have to agree with that one. And they couldn't have picked anybody better than Edge and Triple H to be in the ring for his first title win.
absolutely, absolutely. Jeff Hardy has gone through a lot of trials and tribulations throughout his career. Between DUIs, getting in trouble, and things like that. And it sucked because every time he would build some momentum and start getting somewhere, possibly having another title run or having this, he always ended up in some sort of trouble that kind of just dropped him back down. And I was watching a match recently where Jeff Hardy went to go for the whisper in the wind, and he tripped on the ropes and fell. It's sad to see a legend that really built himself in his career. And now at this point in his career, he really honestly should probably hang it up because he's just dealing with so much. And I feel that when he has situations like that happen, it kind of kills his momentum as a legend. And it's sad to see.
Yeah, the thing that I hated the most about that is that when they took his personal struggles and made them storylines.
Yeah.
And both
Samoa
and
Joe.
yeah,
CM Punk.
multiple companies. Yep, CM Punk. There was another time as well that because TNA did it as
Samoa
well
Joe.
because like when he came back after the Victory Road incident with Sting, AJ literally tore him a new one in like the cold open, and I'm like, I understand, but I guess that was penance in a way for him,
Yeah.
but and there was no one better to do it than AJ because AJ was the driving force and the face of TNA. Like AJ, when people think AJ Styles, yeah, they think WWE now, but at that point in time, AJ was Mr. TNA.
No
Absolutely.
cap.
Honestly, I agree with you there, Kenny, when you say we all love a great storyline. But when you start taking things from somebody's personal life and trying to bring it on live TV and make it a storyline, I feel that's kind of dirty. I don't think you should ever do that to somebody.
Because the worst example of this was everything with Scott Hall in WCW when they had him act as if he was drunk, like on live TV, and I'm like, whose idea was this?
Yeah, whose idea was this? You
Or
know,
bringing Ric Flair's family out and publicly humiliating him, and I was like,
a lot of those storylines. I mean, I'm gonna say it. I mean, it's got to be said was probably Vince McMahon. He thought it was good to humiliate someone and bring out a
well,
crap storyline that like that.
that Ric Flair one was in WCW, so
Okay,
that couldn't have been Vince.
no,
So I don't know who greenlit it, but there's a lot that to
Eric
say.
Bischoff.
Eric.
Mm,
Eric's another one that loves to humiliate people.
mm. Yeah, I mean, it just never goes well. It never like sure wrestling's supposed to blur the lines between fiction and reality,
Uh-huh.
but at some point there's got to be a line that you just can't cross.
Absolutely,
Because
absolutely.
think about where the UFC is going. Like Colby Covington's last incident before his fight with Leon Edwards. Like if he did that to anyone in the street, that wouldn't end well for him.
No. Hey.
No, it absolutely wouldn't. You know, and so this kind of goes into I'm going to kind of pick a personal one as far as, underdogs. Um and he's got a match tonight actually on Monday Night Raw. Main event Jey Uso. He's like an ultimate underdog to me personally. I think that he finally is getting somewhere with his career. The fans absolutely love him. The fact that he's getting an opportunity at the Intercontinental title is amazing. Is he going to win? Probably not, because they're not going to give the fans what they want. Fans probably would love to see Jay as an Intercontinental champion. Honestly, Gunther has achieved everything he really needs to achieve with the Intercontinental title. They need to push him on, get him up in that main event picture, and get somebody else with that Intercontinental title like Jey Uso. Jey Uso would carry that well, and the fans would absolutely go wild and crazy for it.
Yes, but at the same time, why not give him a big Why not make it a big WrestleMania moment?
That's true. That's true. And
Gunther's
they're not
not
doing that.
losing
That's
that.
why we know he's not going to win, because how long has it been since we have seen a title actually switch hands on a regular Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown?
The tag
It's been a
titles.
The women's tag titles.
Other
NXT
than
tag
that, like
titles.
any of the main titles, I'm talking like main titles, like world title, WWE main title, the main women's titles. Like, it's been a while since we've seen something like that happen.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, but at the end of the day, if he loses the title, what's Gunther going to do?
I think he should have been. Me personally, I think Gunther should have been put in the Elimination Chamber. I really think he should have. He should be up there wrestling guys of his own caliber and size.
And the problem is they're worried about. So honestly, I think they're worried about Kaiser and Vinci. That's why they have this little side story that Vinci is like under Kaiser in the Imperium.
Yeah.
Because let's say they elevate Gunther, what happens with the rest of Imperium? Because they're not in the running for the tag titles. I don't even think, like, they've lost multiple number one contenders matches.
Yes, they have.
So they're not going to put the titles on them. So they elevate Gunther. Do they disband Imperium or just make them cannon fodder before the next person to oppose Gunther goes after the world title if he were to win the world title?
Well, I mean, honestly, I'll say it like this. Just because they elevate Gunther doesn't mean that they have to disband Imperium. I mean, you think about it, the bloodline. He's been running for 3 years now, and Roman has always had lackeys by his side. You got Solo Sikoa, Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso. They didn't have to disband the bloodline just because Roman became the main event, the main picture. They just had them helping him. The same thing they could do with Gunther if he won a world title. Imperium could cause distractions and help Gunther maintain that world title and hold on to it. It's just the same kind of idea.
Yeah. But look, have you seen the side story with Vinci and Kaiser?
Yeah, I have. I've been watching it. It's kind of sad, really.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, they gotta do something better with this.
But they can't hold. My thing is they can't hold Gunther back.
Gunther down
a main event.
He's too over.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. You can't hold him back from getting a main title just because you don't want to lose any chance of Imperium staying together. So I think that Gunther deserves a main event picture. He deserves a main title opportunity. He deserves to carry a world title because he is way over. The fans love him. They love Gunther. They love what he's about, and he deserves to be right up in there with Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, facing off for an opportunity to be able to face for the world title. So that's my personal opinion.
Right, and then there's a lot of talent on Raw that's kind of lost right now because because Otis had an issue, so that's why you haven't seen him. Like I think he had an issue in his family.
Yeah.
Then Gable just wrestled Gunther on a live show, I think last night.
Yep.
Then
He
what are they
won
doing
the
with
same way. He won the same way he did back on that Monday Night Raw, where he won by disqualification. It
right,
was literally the same thing.
right.
So
Then Bronson Reed is directionless. Let's
yeah,
call it what it is because where's Ricochet?
I think somebody said that. Well, Ricochet, I think he got let go, didn't he?
No, he didn't.
Oh,
No. Well,
still there.
Bronson Reed, I know for sure. There was something going around saying that his wife was pregnant, so
Uh,
he's going to be taking some time off for that. That's why they didn't push him into being able
the
to have a match.
elimination chamber.
Yeah, that's
Right.
why they didn't give him an opportunity to face for the championship in the elimination chamber at Perth. So he
Right.
should have been like honestly. This is the time with WWE going to Perth, Australia. They should be pushing a lot of their Australian talent, giving them an opportunity to shine in their own home country. But as far as
Aside
I've
from
seen,
Rhea Ripley.
every one of them that's been given an opportunity to be able to face for a world title or whatever they're facing for, they've been shut down. Like they've lost their qualification matches and whatnot. So
Yeah, and the other question is, what are they? Who on the roster is from France?
from France,
Yeah,
when
who on the
are they supposed to go to France?
Backlash?
Okay, that's right. Yeah, Backlash. They're gonna have to
Yeah,
make
I was
some of their
wondering
European.
about that.
They're gonna have to make some of their European talent shine. You know, guys that are from like Scotland or from Europe or from Germany, things like that.
Or
They're gonna have to make them shine.
or they launch NXT Europe like they were planning to do.
Because the last time I can remember a French talent was Maurice.
That's she. I believe. If I'm not mistaken, I believe she's French Canadian.
Yeah, French Canadian. Yeah.
And yeah, I guess you could count Owens and Sami Zayn, but they're Canadian. Through
Yeah,
and
they're
through.
Canadian.
But the last guy that I distinctively remember from France that was in the WWE, I'd have to go with it. It was Rene Dupree.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love
Yep.
is the song.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Love is the songs, or whatever they were called.
And
Tag team.
yeah, and Sylvain Grenier, he's like Maurice, French Canadian. He ain't from
Yeah.
France, but he's French Canadian. Rob Conway's not French,
No.
if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I mean, either they got to come up with a European title or launch NXT Europe because
Well, didn't they get rid? They had NXT UK. They got rid of that, didn't they?
yeah, they shut it down, but they were talking about plans for NXT Europe and NXT Japan and other like offshoots from that.
Yeah.
I would like to see NXT Japan.
That'd be cool. To see
Yeah, I would too.
Japanese talent.
That
Mhm.
now there's something creative and good right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
NXT Japan, get some Japan talent, and then send them right up to the main roster. Make it interesting.
Yep.
Make it very
Yeah.
interesting.
And the crazy part is with Tanahashi literally the president of New Japan, there's nothing like I don't see there being a barrier between WWE and New Japan at this point.
No, absolutely no.
No.
You know, and you know we're getting close to that time, but we got one more. We'll pull one more talent out of the hat off this list. You love him, you hate him. The fans absolutely loathe him. Dominic Mysterio. He's over with the fans in a way that the fans absolutely despise him. And
Eddie.
it's been a long time since somebody has built that much heat with the fans.
Eddie.
Eddie Guerrero. Yep.
Eddie literally did the exact same thing.
Yep. And Dominic Mysterio,
Because
man, he can't get 2 words in edgewise at all. Like he can't. He tries, but it doesn't work. So Kenny's reading that fan thing.
yeah, I would love to make my second appearance for HAW at any point. You know, I would love to come down to Quad Cities.
Yes, we'd love to see you here, man.
I'd love to see you here, man. It'd be an honor to get your autograph.
Absolutely,
sure.
absolutely. Have you ever
Just-
wrestled for CSW?
No, I haven't. But I've wrestled on shows with a lot of the guys from CSW. Like I know Mateo pretty well, very well. I know Mayberry. I know Lizard Man. I know Doom. I know King Trell. I know so many of the guys that I've been on multiple shows with, and I've actually wrestled King Trell.
Yeah.
And I've wrestled Lizard Man, and I still train with Lizard Man.
Oh, I train with him every week. It's awesome.
Yep.
Man, I tell you, Lizard Man, holy crap. He can pull off some wicked moves. Like it's crazy. He'll take a super kick or something and then do a whole backflip and land on his face. And it's like, holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, and on occasion I do tag team with him, and I even ended up getting gear to match his gear in the event that we get asked to tag again.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
But we move into that part of time of the show where we give our honorable mentions out. My honorable mention goes to Kenny Nyne. Another episode on Wrestling with Bros. It's always awesome to have you on, man. You're so interesting, such a great wrestler, and you give back to the wrestling community. Coming on here is your high flying ability is crazy, dude. I can't wait to see some gold around your waist.
Absolutely.
My
shout out and honorable mention goes out to Kenny as well tonight. It's crazy. We originally bring our guests on so we can kind of get to know them. They can kind of get that spotlight. But, it's great to be able to sit down and just talk with the wrestlers and get their opinions on the wrestling world itself. Talking about underdogs, talking about world heavyweight champions, female talent. And, man, you can hold a conversation great. We love to have you on here because we've got a few guys that we bring back a lot. A and B is one of them.
Yeah, that's gotta happen one day. It has to happen one day.
It has to. A and B versus Kenny Nyne, HAW. Let's make it happen. Right here,
no cap, please.
Our hometown.
Please make it happen.
See it happen.
I mean, I'm up for it at any time. I'm up for it.
Hey, he already told me, same with you. When I'm ready to wrestle, when I'm ready to start getting going, I've got a match waiting for me. So I can't wait.
For sure, man.
All right.
Well, we're moving that time in the show where we say our goodbyes. This is Big Baby Ben.
Judas Black. Kenny Nyne down here, guys. You heard it from him. He's got some awesome stuff on the way. We can't wait. But it has been another amazing episode of Wrestling with Bros. Thank you, fans. Like, subscribe.